first experience of Ed was not in person. It was, I just had moved to Austin not too long, not long before, and I happened to be browsing through Access TV, and there's this guy sitting on there that reminded me of the guy that was in San Diego that had everybody kill themselves and go up to some comet that was coming by.
Yeah, Jim Jones.
Yeah, and I looked I looked at it like, and he was speaking spiritually, and I was like, wow, what a strange thing, but I listened to him then, and I said, I really like this guy, and so I tried to figure out when he was on, and I would try to listen to the things that he had to say, and it's like, well, I really like this guy. I don't know why.
And that was my channel, 16.
That was you. and then Jody brought me to the Sangha one day, and there he was, and he was sitting next to me, and I was thinking,
Oh.
I said, did you do this thing on Access TV? And he just said, oh, I've done a lot of things,
It was called Socrates Cafe, and we met every Saturday and talked about a word.
Yeah, and I immediately warmed up to him, and I started to know him for a little bit, and he invited me to this men's group that he put together, and Scott, you were part of that, and Andrew.
It's called Men's Appreciating the Power of Women.
Correct. Yeah. And he asked me if I wanted to be part of that, and I just kind of said, I don't know what I can contribute to that, but I really got that. He was willing to contribute to me, is what it felt like. And so I started to attend that, and again, as I developed a stronger and stronger relationship with him, even though so many times I would get together with him, and the stuff that he would say would just be shocking to me. And like we'd be sitting, we started to have lunch at Whole Foods, and he'd be sitting there, and he's, with people all around us, and he said, this morning I had the best orgasm that I ever had. And everybody kind of had that same kind of experience with him. And as we developed our relationship, I started to realize that I had a really bad relationship with my own dad. And he kind of knew that. I shared that with him. And he slowly took on, for me, this role of being dad. And he got me so complete with my relationship with my own dad, just through his understanding of what my relationship, what the relationship that I shared with him with my dad. And he even gave me this book, about dads, and it's like, it was called, To Me, He's Just Dad. He said, make sure you read that. And I've read a number of chapters, and I promised him the other night, I said, I'm going to read every single chapter in that book. He had a way with me, I had to get as much Ed as I could get before he passed, and I'd be coming down regularly, and we'd still go to Whole Foods whenever we can. And it was because he had this way of being able to give advice in a way that made me think that I thought of it. That it just was like, I discovered that just by you being here almost. And piece of him that's going to live with me, his legacy is just going to be here as part of my life and part of what I'm going to share and what I'm going to give out in the world. And I know every one of you has got that piece of Ed, and that's how Ed is going to live on, because I know that whatever that is, that's dying to get out, and you're going to be sharing that. And as I was sitting here meditating, I had this wonderful experience, and I got to share it with you all. So I'd like you all to just sit for a moment and close your eyes. And we know it is up in front of the room. And I'd like you to picture Ed right now, sitting up and taking a look around the room, giving us that famous Ed shit-eating grin, give us a little wave, and then he lays back down. And that was his goodbye to me this morning. Thank you.
Oh, gosh.
Everybody's got their story about how they met Ed and Mary. I think mine's pretty unique. September 21st, my father's birthday, 2021. My truck decided to drive through their yard. I mean, it probably thought it needed to take control because I was pretty drunk. When I retired at the age of 65, and that's when my drinking took off because I didn't have to go to work, and kids are grown and gone and all that stuff, and so I knew I went through a yard or hit something. I got home and I went, dang, my bumper's gone. And then I didn't say anything to my wife, and she came out to do something. What happened to your truck? Well, I hit something. So fast forward, she said, well, then the doorbell rings. About 3 hours later, the doorbell rings, and she's like, it's probably the police. Oh, and I had gone back out and driven. I knew it was somewhere around here, but looking for my bumper. Got to get my bumper, and couldn't find it. Well, it was in their yard. That's why I didn't see it. And so the doorbell rings, and she goes, that's the police. And I'm going, well, they can't get me for DWI because I'm not driving, but maybe leaving the scene of a crime. I'm thinking all this as I go to the door, and I open the door, and there's Ed and Mary. And like, hi, we're the people whose yard you drove through.
And Ed came in at 3 on Sunday. I was in bed, and he said, somebody just hit both our cars. And I said, can't be because they're in the driveway.
And so they said, we don't care about the damage you did to our yard and our cars. We care about you. And so we went out in the front yard, sat in the chairs in the front yard, and they did most of the talking. I don't even remember what they said, but the point is, they came to my house. Mary got my address from the license plate on the bumper in the front. I think that's a pretty unusual way to meet lifelong friends. And beautiful people coming into your life. I guess I came into their life first. But anyway, it's been a blessing. And it's like, of all the yards I would drive through, my truck chose their yard. I think it knew this is the yard you need to drive through and get some help. These people will help you.
I was down at the San Marcos River yesterday, just looking at the water flowing by, and all of a sudden, Ed came into my thoughts, and I don't know, some sadness came over me. And then around midnight last night, I checked my email, and I saw Janet's email that he had died. And so it came as a little bit of a shock to me. I knew that he was ill, but I actually didn't realize he was this close to dying. So I'm dealing with that. I just feel sad about his passing, and he was always very open and generous with me, very supportive and unjudgmental. But anyway, thanks, Janet and Mary and everyone for having this tribute and this gathering.